if you pick Apatos with that damned monster truck, you have a special place reserved in hell for you. Just know that. Hey, what's up, y'all? Saul here. Welcome back to the story mode. So, like I said in my previous video, I too, like a lot of you I'm sure, have been absolutely obsessed with Sonic Racing Crossworlds, right? This game is so much fun. It is definitely made with a lot of love and care from the main Sonic team, mind you, okay? This isn't just a spin-off given, or like handed off to like a third-party company to develop like Team Sonic Racing and stuff was. No, this was an in-house Sonic game, which is absolutely insane when you really think about it, right? And honestly, couldn't have been in better hands. They said, you know what? We'll handle it ourselves. Why pass it off? Let's make a proper spin-off game in-house. And they did that. They actually did that because this game is absolutely insane. Goodness me. But right now, we have a little something to talk about. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm very happy with the list of tracks that we have from Sonic Racing Crossworlds so far. We have a very wide array of different picks from different places, and even completely original tracks that were made specifically for this game, and they cooked. They did a very good job. I'm loving the music. I'm loving the spread that we have so far, right? And we still have a lot of different stages to look forward to. You know, all the crossover stages from Persona, from I don't know if we're getting a vocal or like a Miku base stage, are we? I have no idea, if I'm being completely honest. But we have a Pac-Man stage to look forward to. We have a Mega Man stage to look forward to. We have a SpongeBob stage to look forward to. We're probably going to get some form of New York or something for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Maybe we'll get the Air Temple for Avatar: The Last Airbender when we eventually get that. You know, we're getting the Minecraft DLC and stuff. That's all cool and dandy. We have a lot of things to look forward to. But again, like I said, if they plan to continue supporting this game for as long as humanly possible, outside of like the crossovers and stuff like that, which I think are really cool, and I hope we get more of, I think that we should definitely pull more from Sonic's universe as well, especially for such a massive racing game like this one, right? There are so many potential tracks that we have yet to even consider or look at, right? So, I have a list of stages here that I really would like to see from Sonic Racing Crossworlds in the next coming months or years. You know, however long it takes to develop them, as long as you get a, you know, a new track, like maybe like once a month or something like that, if we can manage that after we get all the DLC, cool, great, awesome. Here's what I'd like to see. Also, should probably mention, I picked like a couple of games. It's like a small handful, right? And each of these games that I picked specifically have like 3. Right? I didn't want to go too crazy because this video would be way too long otherwise. Okay, let's go ahead and start with Sonic Riders, right? Now, with the return of the Babylon Rogues and the Extreme Gear and even some racing tracks from Sonic Riders, or one in particular actually with White Forest, whatever it's called, I feel like we should definitely delve a little bit more into Sonic Riders stuff. You know, we're canonizing that. Let's go ahead and bring back everything that has to offer, right? Starting with Sand Ruins. This is, I mentioned this already, this is the one track that I was begging to see in Sonic Racing Crossworlds the moment I saw the Extreme Gear, because that was my favorite track in Sonic Riders, specifically because of the music and the aesthetic, and like, you know, I always specifically remember that cutscene of Jet cheating and blowing up, was it Jet or somebody blew up Sonic's Extreme Gear right before the finish line, and I always think about that moment. I'm like, oh, this is such a good ass game, right? I love Sonic Riders, and so Sand Ruins has my heart. I would love to see that track. I would love to see all of its really fun elements and more like, you know, dangerous sand elements implemented into the game, you know, something to avoid. I feel like that'd be really, really cool. I would love to see Sand Ruins as a stage. Next to that, Metal City. Pretty much almost neck and neck, but not quite, right? But I do love the aesthetic of Metal City. I love the idea of racing through a city. That's always been one of my favorite things. I just adore city aesthetics, especially in like a fantasy type situation. And, you know, in fantasy genres, I just love modern looking cities or even futuristic looking cities. And Metal City always had my heart. Obviously, that's like the first stage you ever run through in Sonic Riders. And I would love to see that implemented properly in the Sonic Racing Crossworlds. Again, with Extreme Gear coming back, nothing would be more fitting than having that area, right? And it's, you know, it's already a track. All you got to do is pretty much copy and paste the blueprint and you're good. You know what I'm saying? Obviously minus the, you know, the gimmicks of the speed, power, flight gimmicks, but even then we have a lot of those implemented anyway. So I would love to see Metal City implemented if we could manage that. Next to that, Babylon Garden. I adore the aesthetics and story relevance of Babylon Garden in Sonic Riders, and I just think that, you know, as a testament to the return of the Extreme Gear, especially to the Babylon Rogues, I just adore the possibility of seeing Babylon Garden as a racetrack, right? Obviously, there's definitely needs to be some elements that need to be fine-tuned for a couple of aspects, but for the most part, I just think that Babylon Garden would be a sick-ass aesthetic, definitely like a different vibe from a lot of the stages that we have so far. But then again, you know, all the stages are so unique and different that it wouldn't be so out of place, right? But I just think it would be so raw to have Babylon Garden. That was always a good fun one for me in Sonic Riders. And, you know, again, as a testament to all of that, you know, that story, that aesthetic returning, I just think it would be perfect. In a similar vein, I'm gonna need to see some Sonic Riders Zero Gravity too, you know, because I mean it's in the same ballpark, you know. I know that one isn't looked upon as fondly. Apparently, I didn't know this because I loved Zero Gravity, right? Only thing I hated was the aesthetic of the boards, but I'm glad that didn't come back. But regardless, again, with the return of everything being canonized and everything like that, I think some Zero Gravity love would be absolutely vital, right? Starting with Megalo Station, kind of a similar vein as Metal City, if we're being completely honest, but it definitely has a different, darker vibe to it. I kind of love that, like, that rainy situation that it had going on. I adore that stage so much. I would be fine if we picked one or the other. If I had to choose one or the other, honestly, I might actually have to give it to Megalo Station, if we're completely honest, right? So I'd be totally fine with Megalo Station being the primary, like, Sonic Riders reference, or especially Zero Gravity reference. I think that was a very, very nice stage. I pretty much always picked that stage when I was younger to play on against the bots and stuff like that. So yeah, I have an attachment to that stage. Would love to see it implemented into Crossworlds. Meteor Tech premises, right? That was kind of the entire situation, right? Was Meteor Tech utilizing obviously abusing the power of the meteors to, you know, manipulate space, time, and stuff. It's mostly space, right? Obviously, you know, Eggman's Enterprise there, but I think it would be really, really sick to have that referenced in Sonic Racing Crossworlds. That stage was always really fun. That was I'm pretty sure that was the reunion, the first reunion in a while for Sonic and the Babylon Rogues. So I think it would just be really, really sick to have that stage as a situation, right? All of the different hazards in there are really cool. All the different robots and stuff. I just think that it would be really, really sick. I love the aesthetic of Meteor Tech premises, and I think that'd be really, really dope. So that's where I'm at with that personally. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure I am thinking of the correct stage here, and I mainly picked this because I needed a third. But I do think that Mobius strip would be really, really sick. If I'm remembering correctly, that's when you're fighting the god, the final boss, and you have that, like, transforming area and stuff like that. But that primary, like, that first run through the area, I think would be really, really sick as a Crossworld stage specifically, right? Just that short little area where you're running through trying to catch up to the boss and hit him. I think that would be sick as a stage in of itself. Again, primarily a Crossworld stage, not necessarily as a base stage, right? So, you know, if we have to pick something small and sweet, I think that would be really sick as a reference to Sonic Riders Zero Gravity. That's where I'm at with that. Next, this is the only game that has no presence whatsoever in pretty much any game going forward since its release, and that has to be Sonic and the Black Knight. First of which, Misty Lake, where you learned how to use the sword, would be I love fantasy aesthetics, right? Fantasy aesthetics are just, I adore that. You know, the big magic libraries or the crazy designed, like, towns and stuff like that are floating in the sky or whatever. Misty Lake has that, like, that fun, like, unique, not unique per se, but that fun fantasy aesthetic that I love to see more of, and I think would be very fitting as it. I don't know about a base stage per se, but at the very least a Crossworld stage in Crossworlds I think would be super neat. Like, I love that, like, just kind of misty, like, airy vibe about it, you know, just the water being around, you know, make bigger bridges and stuff like that so we can race across it. I think Misty Lake would be a very, very sick aesthetic to add to Crossworlds, in my personal opinion, because we don't have as many fantasy-like styles as I would like in this game, you know? So yeah, I think this would be a very good addition. In a similar vein, this one definitely would have to be a base stage, and I'm talking about Camelot Castle. Absolutely iconic. I think about Camelot Castle more than I probably should when it comes to, like, you know, because I would always watch the intro over and over again to Sonic and the Black Knight. You know how it is when you're a kid, you know, you put the disc in, and maybe you gotta do something or whatever, and you're just hearing the intro in your mind, and I always think of Sonic racing up on the chains up in the Camelot Castle. You know, I think the Camelot Castle is, again, a perfect fantasy aesthetic that would work very well as a base level in Sonic Racing Crossworlds. And, you know, if we have Sonic and the Secret Rings mentioned, and, you know, with additional... Crazy that we have 2 Sonic and the Secret Rings stages, basically, but no Black Knight stages. Insane to me. Especially since Black Knight is usually considered the more polished game. Like, let's not play around, man. Especially with that Sonic and the Black Knight's music. I cannot believe we don't have no Sonic and the Black Knight music, bruh. With me, bruh. Oh my god. We got to talk about the music too, because there's a lot of tracks that got added to this game that I'm very happy about, but we're missing some stuff. So we'll talk more about that. But for now, I would love to see Camelot Castle as an additional base level or stage in Crossworlds. Now this one, I couldn't pick between the two because I love, again, I've been talking about the fantasy aesthetics, which is what Sonic and the Black Knight is pretty much all about. But at the same time, there is another stage. This one's a little more generic, but I just love grassy plains. Like, I just love the idea of driving across grassy plains and stuff like that, which is why I'm so, like, excited for Kirby. Like, it has a lot of that kind of aesthetic to it. But I would love to see either Dragon's Lair or Titanic Plain. One or the other, preferably, if we're honest, probably Dragon's Lair, because it's a more unique aesthetic. And, you know, if we're gonna get, like, the T-Rexes and Dinos from Sonic and the Secret Rings as, like, a Crossworld stage, we may as well have Dragon's Lair as a Crossworld stage too, right? Specifically as a Crossworld stage, because it doesn't need to be... It's too specific to be like a base stage, if that makes any sense, right? I would just love to see that aesthetic implemented very similarly to how they added the T-Rexes and stuff like that. But this time, you and all the other races are avoiding a dragon spewing fire at you. Remember that first dragon fight in Sonic and the Black Knight, where you had to, like, avoid all its fire, get up to it, and start smacking on the horn? Yeah, we gotta have something very similar to that, right? When driving up that one area. I think that'd be sick as hell as a Crossworld stage, right? Because we need more stuff with, like, more threatening hazards, and I think that would be a very, very good one. So, that's where I'm at with that. And lastly, I mean, you know, the areas are still canon to the franchise, even if the events technically... No, I mean, the events are canon, they just didn't happen to them. But, regardless, insane to me that we added 006 stages. Don't be cowards now, guys. Y'all were very bold during the Generations era, always making fun of 06, always bringing it up, but always making sure to add 06 relevant content to those games, right? To Generations, to, there's another game in between. And then most recently, again, with Mephiles in Sonic X Shadow Generations as a boss fight. Like, y'all made sure that we know, like, yeah, 06 happened, just not to these characters, right? And that's fine, that's cool. I still think we should get a couple of aesthetics from it, especially because a lot of them are so good. Something a lot of people talk about that I'm very, like, I'm glad I don't feel too crazy about, is that the level design in 06 is actually really good. Like, aesthetically, it's always so pleasing, you know what I'm saying? So, like I adore Aquatic Base as a stage so much. It's insane. Like, it's one of my favorite stages in gaming, but unfortunately, it's hid behind an ass game, you know what I mean? But regardless, I've been yammering on enough. The stages. Wave Ocean. Why not? I don't think we have a lot of, like, just, like, specifically beach-based stages. You know what I'm saying? And I think that stage in particular could be really, really fun as an aesthetic, you know, racing alongside the dolphins that are there, or all the Eggman baddies on that stage, or just, like, the general... I just love the beach aesthetic, right? And there's a lot you could work with there, and I think that would be really, really sick. I love Wave Ocean, and again, 06 music, can't go wrong with that. Especially Wave Ocean. Sick ass name. Man, that's such a good ass name. Next, I picked this one the only reason I picked this one specifically is because we already have, right? We already have, like, the, like, kind of, like, robotic, like, inside of a, like, not warehouse per se, but like that kind of tight-knit aesthetic going on that Aquatic Base offers, you know? We already have that aesthetic littered throughout Sonic Crossworlds, so I think another option, because we don't have a lot of snow-based ones, we only have the one, and I think that is cool, but I think even more fun would be Wide Acropolis as an aesthetic, right? Again, I know it's not the most popular stage, and that's totally fine. Like, I know it's not the most, like, memorable of them, but I think for the sake of aesthetic, I feel like it would be really fun to have, like, a multitude, a wider array of snowy, like, icy-based aesthetics, right? And I think Wide Acropolis could be really, really sick. All the lights and stuff like that, all of the different, like, there's a lot that you could pull from Wide Acropolis, and I think that could be really sick. And lastly, I know we just got it, which is why I know you guys have the assets to utilize it as a stage. Kingdom Valley! That's crazy that we don't have Kingdom Valley as a stage in this game. Why the hell not? That would make so much sense. All of the driving on the walls and stuff, all of the different, like, the like castles and things like that whole castle aesthetic. I know we just talked about Camelot Castle as a stage, but if I had to pick between the two, Kingdom Valley wins every single time. Like, it's not even a game. So if we had to pick that, like, kingdom kind of fantasy aesthetic, then yeah, Kingdom Valley wins every single time, with Shadow Generations as proof of it being like a very well designed stage, very pretty and just a very fun aesthetic. Yeah, Kingdom Valley goes crazy every single time. Insane that we don't even have that as a Crossworld stage, let alone as a base stage, you know what I'm saying? So, Kingdom Valley would probably be like my number one pick from 06 if we had to choose, you know? Again, I would definitely probably prefer Aquatic Base, because I just love that aesthetic, love that music. But Kingdom Valley makes more sense as a stage, you know? But take that as you will. That being said, there's a lot of stages that I definitely could have probably picked out, and if we want to do like a part 2 of this, if this gets enough love from it, then we could do another one of these, because there's a lot of stages throughout Sonic's history that we have yet to even glance at as potential tracks for this game, right? But I've said my piece. I'm passing the mic over in your direction, and I want you guys to tell me everything that you're thinking in the comment section below. Do you agree? Do you think that my track list here could be a really cool and additional set of tracks to add to Sonic Racing Crossworld? Do you think that they could be fun? Do you think that they could be very fitting aesthetics? You could definitely see us racing on these tracks and having a really good time. Or are you on the opposing side? You don't think that these would work well as stages. You think that they should just stay where they are. We don't need to worry about that, and we should just move on from all of them. Tell me everything that you're thinking in the comment section below, because you know for a fact that I'm always going to be down there with you guys. But with that, yeah, it does appear to be Skedaddle Lookbox. I'm going to go ahead and do just that. I'd like to thank you guys ever so much for watching. I truly do hope you enjoyed. Do me the greatest favor of dropping a like and a comment, and consider subscribing for more content just like this here. And with that, I'm gone. So thanks again, hope you enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Do me the greatest favor, taking good ass care, and I'll see you all next time.